Be still, not because the world has gone quiet, but because you are about to hear what has always been speaking beneath the noise. There is a power at work in your life right now, not coming, not arriving, not awakening someday in the future, but operating with precision in every moment you draw breath. It is older than your name, closer than your thoughts, more intimate than your emotions. Scripture called it the Word. Science calls it consciousness. Mystics have always known it as I am, and this power has never been outside of you. From the beginning it was written, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, not separate, not distant. The Word was God. And then the sentence continues in a way most never stop to feel. And the Word was made flesh, not metaphor. Mechanism. The invisible took form. The unseen expressed itself as the seen. This is the law governing your life. You are not living in a random universe. You are living inside a responsive one. And the secret power is this. What you consistently accept as true within yourself must express itself as fact around you. Not occasionally, not symbolically, but inevitably. This is not a belief system. It is not a philosophy. It is not a motivational idea. It is law. You do not manifest by wishing. You manifest by being. Every thought you sustain, every assumption you return to, every inner conversation you repeat is not idle mental activity. It is creative instruction. You are speaking to life constantly, and life is listening perfectly. The tragedy is not that people fail to manifest. The tragedy is that they manifest faithfully without realizing what they are doing. They imagine worst-case scenarios and call it realism. They rehearse loss and call it preparation. They speak against themselves and call it humility. And the law responds without judgment, without hesitation. According to your faith, be it unto you. Faith is not effort. Faith is not emotion. Faith is assumption. What you assume to be true becomes the lens through which reality organizes itself. This is why two people can face the same circumstance and experience entirely different lives. The event is neutral. The state is decisive. The world is not happening to you. It is happening through you. And the moment this is seen not intellectually but inwardly, responsibility replaces fear. Not responsibility as burden, responsibility as authority. You stop asking, why did this happen? And begin asking, what state produced this? And then quietly, powerfully, you realize something that changes everything. If states create experiences, then changing the state changes the future, not by force, by alignment. This is why Christ never begged heaven to intervene. He did not plead with reality. He assumed authority. When he said, stretch forth thy hand, the healing was not requested, it was expected. When he said, peace, be still, the storm recognized command, not suggestion. And then he said something that unsettles the comfortable and awakens the ready. The works that I do, you shall do also. Not as metaphor, as pattern. He revealed the nature of consciousness embodied in a human life. And that same consciousness animates you. The secret power is not reserved for saints. It is not granted by morality. It is not earned through suffering. It is activated by identity. You do not rise to the level of your desires. You fall or ascend to the level of your self-concept. This is why change feels so difficult when approached from behavior alone. You can act confident while feeling unworthy. You can speak abundance while expecting lack. You can visualize success while identifying as struggling. And the feeling will win. Feeling is the language of creation, not emotion. Feeling is recognition. The felt sense of this is who I am. This is normal for me. This belongs in my life. The subconscious mind does not reason. It does not debate. It accepts impressions and executes them faithfully. This is why repetition without feeling is empty. This is why affirmations spoken in desperation exhaust the nervous system. This is why effort without assumption leads to burnout. You cannot trick the law, but you can align with it. And alignment begins in stillness. Before any manifestation appears outwardly, it must be accepted inwardly as complete. This is why Scripture speaks of rest. There remaineth therefore a rest to the people of God. Rest is not inactivity. Rest is completion assumed. When God rested on the seventh day, it was not because creation was tiring, it was because it was finished. You cannot rest in what you believe is unfinished. So the question becomes simple. direct and transformative. Who would I be if this were already true? Not what would I do, not how would I get it, but who would I be? This is where imagination becomes sacred. Imagination is not fantasy. It is not escape. It is the womb of reality. Every structure, every relationship, every system that exists in the world was first sustained as an imaginal act long enough to become fact. That which is seen was not made of things which do appear. The unseen always precedes the seen. So you imagine not with strain, not with effort, but with acceptance. You imagine scenes that imply fulfillment, not struggle. You feel the calm of having arrived, not the tension of becoming. You let the body experience the state as natural. And then this is crucial, you let it go. Not because it does not matter, but because it is already accepted. Detachment is not indifference. Detachment is trust in law. The farmer does not dig up the seed to see if it is working. He plants, waters, and rests, and growth follows in its season. Impatience delays manifestation not because time is required, but because impatience is confession of doubt. The moment you say, "Where is it?" you are declaring, "It is not here." It's mixations, and consciousness responds faithfully. So you learn discipline, not of force, but of return. When the mind drifts to worry, you do not fight it. You return to state. When circumstances tempt reaction, you do not suppress emotion. You recenter identity. Mastery is not the absence of reaction. It is the speed of return. Return to the assumption that serves life. Return to the feeling of inevitability. Return to the quiet knowing that does not need proof. This is why gentleness becomes strength. A regulated nervous system manifests with precision. A divided one leaks energy. Science now confirms what mystics always lived. Coherence produces order. Alignment creates stability. When thought, feeling, and identity agree, reality moves, not dramatically, but decisively. Small shifts appear first, conversations change tone, opportunities surface without announcement. Delays lose emotional charge. This is calibration. The world is learning your new frequency. Do not rush this phase. Do not demand signs. Signs follow belief, they do not create it. And then, one day, without spectacle, the outer world rearranges. The door opens. The provision appears. The relationship aligns. The solution arrives. And it feels familiar, not surprising, recognized, because you had already lived there inwardly. This is how you know manifestation is real. The fulfillment feels like memory, not miracle. And now something deeper emerges. You realize the secret power was never meant merely to get things. It was meant to restore likeness, to return you to your natural state of authority, peace, and creative clarity. This is why awakened individuals desire less but express more. Desire matures. It no longer comes from lack. It comes from overflow. Seek first the kingdom of God. Seek the state. Seek alignment. Seek inner order. And everything else arranges itself. Outcomes are shadows. States are substance. You stop chasing shadows and stand in the light. Life becomes simpler, not easier, but clearer. Challenges no longer threaten identity. They inform alignment. You no longer ask, "Why is this happening to me?" You ask, "What assumption is being revealed?" And you adjust inwardly. Prayer becomes different now, not begging upward, but aligning inward. Prayer is not asking. Prayer is accepting. Thank you, spoken before evidence appears, is the highest form of faith, because gratitude implies possession, and possession implies identity. Identity commands reality. So you begin to live differently. You speak to yourself with reverence. You do not bond through complaint. You protect sacred states through silence. Even Jesus said, "Cast not pearls before swine." Not insult wisdom. New assumptions are tender. They grow best in quiet. You let results speak, and they do, because the law has never failed. And now, as this awareness settles deeper than words, something releases. The need to control, the need to hurry, the need to prove. You realize safety was never in control. It was in coherence. You are no longer managing life. You are cooperating with it. You move when clarity comes. You wait when stillness speaks, and neither feels like loss, because you trust the intelligence moving through you. You walk by faith. not by sight. Sight reacts. Faith directs. And finally, gently, the movement comes to rest, not an ending, a settling. You feel it as ease, as quiet authority, as presence without strain. You are no longer outside your life, waiting to enter it. You are inside it, aligned, awake, remembered. The secret power is no longer secret. It is lived. Be still now. Live from this place, and let what must appear, appear. And as you remain here, something final yet wordless settles into place. Not as a conclusion, but as a consecration. You are no longer trying to remember truth. Truth is remembering you. There is a subtle shift now in how time is felt. Moments are no longer obstacles to endure or bridges to cross. They are vessels, each one capable of holding meaning, clarity, and quiet instruction. You no longer rush through the present in search of a future that feels safer. You have discovered that safety does not live ahead of you. It lives within coherence. And coherence has been restored. This is why peace now feels earned without effort. Why silence no longer feels empty. Why stillness feels alive. You understand now that the secret power was never hidden from you. It was hidden as you, hidden behind habits of thought, hidden behind borrowed identities, hidden behind fear, learned early and carried faithfully. And yet, even then, the power never stopped working. It simply obeyed what it was given. Now it is being given truth. So your inner speech changes, not because you police it, but because it no longer resonates to speak against yourself. You do not need to correct every thought. You have changed the speaker. When identity shifts, language follows. You begin to notice how naturally kindness arises, not as performance, but as alignment. You are kinder because you are no longer at war with yourself, more patient because you are no longer arguing with time, more generous because you no longer fear depletion. This is the fruit of inner agreement. You live more positively, not by forcing optimism, but by releasing resistance. You become a better person, not by self-judgment, but by self-recognition. You recognize yourself as source, not effect, as cause, not reaction, as participant in divine order, not victim of chance. And this recognition carries responsibility, not heavy, but holy. You choose more carefully now, not because you fear consequences, but because you respect creation. You know that every assumption plants a seed, every feeling waters it, every repeated inner stance gives it form. So you choose consciously. You choose thoughts that align with life. You choose interpretations that preserve dignity. You choose meanings that expand rather than contract. And when you falter, as all humans do, you do not collapse inward. You return. Return to breath. Return to presence. Return to the knowing that has already proven itself. This return is gentle, immediate, available. You do not need ceremony to access it. You do not need permission. It lives where attention rests. And now attention rests differently. It rests in being rather than striving, in trust rather than vigilance, in awareness rather than anticipation. This is not detachment from life. This is intimacy with it. You feel more, but you are shaken less. You care deeply, but you cling less. You move forward not because you are pushed by fear, but because you are pulled by clarity. And clarity is calm. So as this voice fades, not as instruction, but as accompaniment, nothing is left undone. You are not meant to remember every word. You are meant to live the state of alignment, the state of quiet authority, the state of creative rest. From here, manifestation is no longer a practice. It is a byproduct, a natural consequence of living in agreement with law. And the law is simple. What you accept as true within will express itself without. It always has. It always will. So go now, not away, but into your life. Carry no strain. Carry no urgency. Carry only this knowing. You are not becoming powerful. You are remembering that you always were. Be still. Live aligned, and let the unfolding continue. Faithful, precise, inevitable, and in this inevitability, you begin to sense the quiet holiness of ordinary moments. Nothing needs to change for meaning to be present. Meaning is already here. Breathing through the simple act of awareness, you notice how even the smallest choices now carry weight, not heaviness, but consequence. The tone of your inner voice, the patience in your response, the pause before you speak. These are no longer insignificant. They are creative acts. For you now understand that life is not shaped only by grand decisions, but by the states you repeatedly return to when no one is watching. This is where character is formed. This is where destiny is negotiated. And so you begin to live more gently with yourself. You stop using pain as proof of progress. You stop mistaking struggle for sincerity. You stop believing that difficulty makes truth more valid. Truth is simple. Truth is calm. Truth does not shout. The kingdom does not arrive with spectacle. It arrives as recognition. You recognize it in the way anxiety loosens its grip, in the way resentment fades without explanation, in the way forgiveness feels like release, not effort. You realize that forgiveness was never for others. It was for coherence. Holding grievance fragments the inner field. Releasing it restores power. So you forgive not because someone deserves it, but because you deserve alignment. And alignment feels like integrity. You become more honest, not harshly, but cleanly. You say yes when you mean yes. You say no when truth asks for it. Your life simplifies. Not because responsibilities vanish, but because resistance dissolves. And this simplicity reveals a deeper joy, not excitement, not pleasure, but a quiet appreciation for existence itself. You begin to enjoy life without needing it to impress you. This is freedom. Freedom is not getting everything you want. Freedom is no longer needing life to prove your worth. You are worthy because you exist. You are creative because you are conscious. You are powerful because you are aware of being aware. I am before any description follows. This is the name given to God, and it is the name you silently use every day. I am tired. I am hopeful. I am lacking. I am fulfilled. And whatever follows, I am. Life accepts as instruction. So now you choose carefully, not fearfully, but reverently. You say, I am at peace. I am guided. I am provided for. I am becoming clearer every day. And these are not affirmations. They are identifications. You live into them. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, the world reshapes itself around your agreement. Not because you demanded it, but because you no longer contradict it. This is the maturity of faith. Faith without strain. Faith without display. Faith that rests in law rather than outcome. And now, truly now, there is nothing left to add. The teaching dissolves into being. The words fall away. The knowing remains. You carry it not as memory, but as orientation. You will recognize it later. When you pause instead of panic, when you assume instead of react, when you trust instead of brace, in those moments, you will know the secret power is active. The alignment is intact. The unfolding is faithful. Be still. Live gently. And let life, once again, meet you where you are. And here, at last, the movement becomes almost imperceptible, not because it has ended, but because it has become natural. You are no longer doing this work. The work is doing you. What once required intention now unfolds as instinct. What once demanded remembrance now lives as posture. You carry yourself differently, not in appearance, but in presence. There is a steadiness in you now, not rigid, not guarded, but grounded. You have stopped leaning forward into the future, searching for reassurance. You have stopped looking backward, negotiating with memory. You stand where you are, and where you are is sufficient. This is the dignity of awareness. You realize that the power you once sought to activate was never dormant. It was simply obscured by noise. And now the noise has softened, not silenced forever, but no longer believed. Thoughts still arise. Emotions still move. Circumstances still fluctuate. But none of them define you. You have discovered the difference between experience and identity. Experience passes. Identity abides. An identity, once known, becomes an anchor. This is why life no longer feels like something happening to you. It feels like something moving with you. You cooperate rather than resist. You listen rather than brace. You respond rather than react. This responsiveness is intelligence in motion. You trust it now, not blindly, but experientially. You have seen enough confirmations quiet, undeniable confirmations, to know that the inner word precedes the outer event. You have watched assumptions become encounters. You have felt states crystallize into form. You have lived the evidence. And because of this, fear no longer has authority. It may speak, but it is no longer believed. It may appear, but it is no longer obeyed. You understand now that fear is simply imagination misdirected, faith applied in reverse. So you redirect gently, not with force, with clarity. You do not argue with fear. You outgrow it, and as fear loosens, something else expands. Compassion. Compassion for yourself. Compassion for others still asleep to their power. Compassion for the versions of you that acted without understanding. You see now that everyone is manifesting faithfully, some consciously, many unconsciously, and this realization removes judgment. You no longer need to feel superior. You no longer need to feel separate. You simply know. And knowing carries humility. You do not rush to correct others. You embody truth instead. Presence teaches what words cannot. Your calm becomes instruction. Your patience becomes invitation. Your alignment becomes permission for others to remember themselves. This is how the light spreads, not by argument, but by example, quietly, naturally, inevitably. And now, as everything settles into a gentle stillness once more, there is no sense of conclusion, only continuation. Not continuation of effort, but continuation of being. You will wake tomorrow not as someone searching for truth, but as someone living from it. You will move through ordinary moments with an extraordinary awareness that each one is creative, each one is responsive, each one is alive with consequence. And this awareness will not weigh you down. It will free you, because you will no longer live accidentally. You will live deliberately, gently, faithfully. So remain here, not frozen, not fixed, but rooted. Rooted in the knowing that what you assume within shapes what you meet without. Rooted in the peace that comes from alignment. Rooted in the authority of stillness. Nothing more is required. Nothing is missing. You are here, and that has always been enough. And in this enoughness, the final tension dissolves, the quiet pressure to become someone else. You realize you were never meant to escape yourself. You were meant to inhabit yourself fully. This is why the journey always turns inward, not as retreat, but as return. You return to the place before comparison, before self-judgment, before the belief that you must earn your right to exist peacefully. You remember now, existence itself was the permission. And from this remembrance, a new way of living emerges. Not dramatic, not grand, but deeply honest. You stop pretending to be unaffected. You stop exaggerating strength. You stop hiding uncertainty. And paradoxically, this honesty makes you unshakable, because strength was never in performance. It was in presence. You are present with your thoughts without being ruled by them. Present with emotions without drowning in them. Present with life without demanding guarantees. This presence is power refined. You no longer rush to define every experience. You allow meaning to reveal itself in time. You trust timing now not as fate, but as intelligence arranging itself through you. Delays no longer insult you. They inform pacing. Endings no longer threaten you. They redirect energy. Beginnings no longer excite you excessively. They feel natural. This emotional equilibrium is not numbness. It is balance. You still feel joy, but it is not frantic. You still feel sadness, but it is not identity. You still feel desire, but it is not desperation. Everything has found its proper place. And because of this, your imagination becomes clearer. You imagine without strain. You intend without attachment. You desire without fear. Your inner scenes are no longer crowded with effort. They are simple, direct, assumptive. You feel the state first, and the state teaches the mind what to expect. Expectation becomes quiet certainty. And certainty, real certainty, has a signature. It does not rush. It does not argue. It does not announce itself. It waits calmly for reality to catch up. And reality always does. You have seen this enough times now to trust the process without monitoring it. You no longer check constantly for signs. You notice them when they appear and smile, because signs are no longer validation. They are confirmation of what was already known. This is maturity in consciousness. This is faith that has grown out of hope. And from here, living positively no longer means forcing perspective. It means choosing alignment over agitation. When negativity appears, you do not condemn it. You ask what state produced it, and you shift gently. When judgment arises, you do not suppress it. You recognize separation and return to unity. When fatigue comes, you do not shame yourself. You rest, knowing rest is part of creation. You are kinder now, not strategically, but sincerely. Kindness no longer feels like sacrifice. It feels like expression. You treat others with dignity, not because you must, but because you see yourself in them. You understand now that harming another fragments your own coherence, and coherence matters to you. This is how you become a better person, not by striving to improve, but by living in truth consistently. Truth simplifies character. You no longer need to remember who you are supposed to be. You act from who you are, and who you are is becoming clearer each day. Not louder, clearer. You feel guided, not by voices, but by resonance. Some paths feel heavy. You do not take them. Some choices feel light. You follow them. This is guidance refined into intuition. And intuition is simply alignment speaking. So you trust it. You trust yourself not blindly, but because you have learned how reality responds to your inner agreement. You know now that consciousness does not betray itself. And now, truly now, the words have served their purpose. They have pointed, they have aligned, they have quieted what remains as being. So stay with that. Stay with the breath as it moves without instruction. Stay with the awareness that notices without effort. Stay with the stillness that holds everything without strain. From here, life continues. And it continues differently, not because the world changed, but because you did. Gently, naturally, faithfully, be still and live from this place. And now, softly, the voice recedes, not because it has nothing more to say, but because what matters no longer needs to be spoken. What remains is not instruction. It is orientation. You are oriented now toward truth rather than tension, toward alignment rather than effort, toward being rather than becoming. You feel it as a quiet steadiness beneath the surface of thought, a sense that nothing essential is missing, a knowing that does not argue, explain, or defend itself. This is not the end of a journey. It is the end of resistance to the journey. You will return to ordinary life, to conversations, responsibilities, choices, and moments that once felt heavy. But you will return differently. You will pause where you once rushed. You will listen where you once reacted. You will assume where you once hoped. And in those small, faithful moments, the secret power will continue to work not dramatically, not loudly, but precisely. You will notice it when calm replaces urgency, when clarity replaces confusion, when trust replaces control. You will recognize it when life responds without struggle, when things arrive without force, when answers appear without panic, and you will smile, not because you are surprised, but because you remember. You remember that you were never separate, never powerless, never overlooked. You remember that consciousness was always creating through you, waiting only for your agreement. And now, agreement has been made. So go gently. Carry this knowing not as a burden, but as a foundation. Let it inform your thoughts. Let it soften your words. Let it guide your actions without urgency. Nothing needs to be proven. The law is already in motion. The seed is already planted. The unfolding is already faithful. Be still. Live aligned. And let your life quietly, steadily, inevitably reflect the truth you now know. There is a sacred law moving through all things. It is not hidden, it is not far away, and it does not belong to a chosen few. It is the same law that turns the seed into the tree, the same intelligence that pulls the tides, that aligns the planets, that breathes in your lungs and listens behind your eyes. This law is consciousness itself, and consciousness is God. When you understand this truth, not as theory, but as living experience, life ceases to be random. The chaos of circumstance becomes ordered by your awareness, and what once appeared as chance reveals itself as divine orchestration. You realize that what you have called the world is but the mirror of your own imagination. You are not a victim of conditions. You are the creator of them. You are not at the mercy of fate. You are the dreamer of the dream. And your every thought, every feeling, every assumption is a command spoken into the infinite substance that forms your reality. According to your faith, be it unto you. Matthew 9:29. This is not poetic language. It is a precise statement of cause and effect. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It is the unseen command, the energetic signature, that creation obeys. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. Everything that surrounds you right now, every person, every possession, every circumstance was once invisible. It existed first in consciousness, in imagination, in belief, in expectation. Before a house stands, it is first drawn in the mind. Before a song is heard, it is first conceived in the silence of inspiration. The invisible always precedes the visible. So when I say your wish is your command, I mean this. Whatever you hold within yourself as real, whatever you consent to as truth in imagination and feeling, becomes the pattern the outer world must obey. Your inner word becomes flesh. For in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. John 1:1. End or choose 6. The word is not merely speech. It is the vibration of consciousness, the movement of belief within you. Your word is the self-concept you accept what you call yourself, what you feel to be possible, what you know as your identity. When you speak I am, you activate the creative center of all existence. I am is God in action. It is the command that sets the whole universe in motion. And yet, most live unaware of this authority. They say, I am, to everything that passes through the senses. I am poor. I am lonely. I am afraid. And by that unconscious faith, they animate the very thing they wish to escape. But the awakened one speaks differently. He understands that the feeling of the wish fulfilled is the only reality worth holding. He knows that imagination is not idle fantasy. It is the workshop of the Almighty. To imagine with conviction is to decree. The world responds not to your words, but to your inner conviction, your felt state of being. If you feel unworthy, the world mirrors unworthiness. If you feel abundant, life rushes to confirm abundance. It is not personal, it is law. And this law is perfect, impartial, and unbreakable. Science now begins to confirm what mystics have known for centuries. Observation collapses probability into actuality. Energy conforms to attention. The observer is the cause of the observed. In the quantum field, there are infinite potential realities, and the one that manifests is the one to which consciousness gives focus and feeling. Scripture spoke of this long before physics had a language for it. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Proverbs 23:7. The heart in Scripture is not the organ in your chest. It is the seat of your feeling, your inner assumption. To think in the heart means to unite thought and emotion until it becomes being. Feeling is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. It is the creative medium through which imagination takes form. What you feel is true becomes true. Therefore, if you would change your world, begin not with action, but with inner assumption. There is a sacred science to this. To manifest is not to force reality, but to align consciousness. When you see yourself as already being the person who has what you desire, you establish a vibrational equivalence. This is not wishful thinking, it is the precise operation of divine law. Every image held in sustained feeling impresses upon the subconscious, and the subconscious expresses it faithfully without question. The subconscious is the womb of creation. It does not argue, it does not reason. It receives the seed of belief and brings it forth in its appointed time. And just as surely as night follows day, the world begins to rearrange itself to match the new conception you hold. So the command is simple. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Not someday, but now. For creation is finished. All states already exist. You do not create your desire. You select it. Like tuning a frequency, you align your consciousness with the reality already prepared for you from the foundation of the world. This is why Jesus spoke not as one pleading with heaven, but as one commanding it. He said, whatever things you ask when you pray, believe that you have received them, and you shall have them. Mark 11:24. Notice the tense, believe you have received. It is done in consciousness first. That is the command. Your wish becomes your reality when you occupy it inwardly, as already fulfilled. The secret is to persist in that state until it hardens into fact. You are not persuading the universe. You are persuading yourself. You are aligning your inner self-image with the divine image already waiting in potential. For to God all things are possible, and to him who believes all things are possible. Consider this. The same imagination that created your current life can create a new one. There is no limit but the limit of your own belief. If you can imagine yourself healed, you can be healed. If you can imagine yourself free, you can be free. If you can imagine yourself blessed, abundant, and guided, then all heaven rushes to fulfill that decree. But you must take your attention off the evidence of the senses. Faith begins where the senses end. Do not wait for proof to believe. Belief is the proof. What you assume inwardly with full acceptance becomes the seed of future experience. Therefore, choose carefully what you entertain in mind and heart. Your imagination is the womb of destiny. Every image, every inner conversation, every word you speak to yourself is a command. The subconscious obeys it without resistance. If you tell yourself you are unloved, you decree that state. If you tell yourself you are chosen, blessed, guided you, awaken that divine potential. Most people pray for what they do not believe in. They ask for healing while imagining sickness. They ask for prosperity while feeling lack. They ask for love while believing themselves unworthy. This is not prayer, this is contradiction. True prayer is communion with the feeling of fulfillment. When you pray, go within. Enter your inner room, that sacred space of imagination, and close the door to doubt. Speak the word I am, and join it with the quality you desire. I am whole. I am abundant. I am loved. Repeat it not as affirmation, but as recognition, a confession of identity. And as you persist, your whole being begins to conform to this new truth. Do not concern yourself with the how. Leave that to divine intelligence. Your only work is to maintain the feeling of fulfillment, to live inwardly as though it were already done. For in consciousness it is. And when the inner state is complete, the outer must reflect it. You are not learning to command the universe. You are remembering that you already do. Every moment of your life has been an unbroken demonstration of your inner state. Even your delays and disappointments have obeyed your unconscious assumptions. But now you are awake. Now you see that every feeling is a seed and every belief a decree. You are the sower and the soil, the word and its fulfillment. So, what is your command today? What divine possibility are you ready to accept as real? Look not to the past, for the past is only the shadow of former beliefs. Look instead within, where infinite potential waits. The same power that said, "Let there be light," speaks through you as I am. When you declare, I am, you are exercising the original creative act. You are not begging life to change, you are commanding it through consciousness. This is not arrogance. It is obedience to divine law. It is the recognition that you and the Father are one. The world will call it faith. Science will call it resonance. Mystics will call it awakening. But it is all the same principle, the unity of imagination and feeling that brings form out of the invisible. To live consciously is to speak the language of God. To imagine lovingly is to cooperate with divine order. And to persist in that inner state is to move mountains. For as Jesus said, if you have faith as a grain of mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move, and it shall move, and nothing will be impossible unto you. Matthew Sheba Esrim. Faith as a grain of mustard seed, the smallest conviction, deeply felt, contains within it the pattern of miracles. For the moment you feel the reality of your wish, you have commanded creation itself. When the Master spoke of faith, he was not referring to belief in a distant deity, but to the inner conviction of being. Faith is not hoping for a thing. Faith is the feeling of being it. It is the awareness that the thing desired already lives within you as a present possession. You are not separated from it by time or distance, only by the veil of disbelief. When that veil is lifted, what you call miracle is revealed as natural law. You see, creation was finished from the foundation of the world. All that ever will be already exists in divine imagination. Your task is not to create something new, but to awaken to what already is, to select from infinite states the one you desire and to inhabit it with feeling. This is what it means to live from the end. Living from the end is not pretending. It is not forcing. It is quiet knowing. It is the still assurance that because you have assumed it, it must be so. Just as you would not question whether the sun will rise, you do not question the fulfillment of your desire. You rest in the certainty of divine law. This is the Sabbath, the sacred rest of the soul, that knows its command has been heard. Every act of imagination, impregnated with feeling, is a seed planted in the soil of eternity. And as every gardener knows, you do not dig up the seed to see if it is growing. You water it with faith. You protect it from the weeds of doubt, and in time it emerges in form. So it is with every desire. Once accepted in imagination as true, its manifestation is certain. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. This verse is not a command to worship something external, but an instruction to enter silence and recognize your own creative center. In the stillness of being, the outer world is quieted, and you remember that all power is within. You are not subject to the winds of circumstance. You are the wind itself, shaping the landscape of experience. This realization transforms prayer from supplication to communion. You no longer ask for what you desire. You commune as it. You feel yourself already possessing it, already living it, already grateful for it. And in that gratitude, you merge with divine consciousness. For thanksgiving is the secret key, the sound of answered prayer. Understand this clearly. The outer world is a delayed reflection of the inner. What you are experiencing today is the echo of yesterday's thoughts and feelings. So if you wish to change the future, begin by changing your self-concept now. Do not try to manipulate outer events. Transform the cause within. The moment you change your self-definition, life begins to rearrange itself to match it. If you believe yourself unlucky, no amount of struggle can contradict that assumption. But the moment you decide, I am favored, guided, and supported by divine order, you send a new vibration into the field of life. Suddenly, coincidences align, doors open, and people appear to assist you. It is not luck, it is law. You have issued a new command through your identity. I am is the root command of the universe. Whatever follows I am becomes your decree. When you say, I am strong, strength answers. When you say, I am free, freedom stirs within the unseen and begins to shape your path. Speak as though the thing was so, and it will be. For let the weak say, I am strong. Joel 3:10. This is not denial. It is divine alignment. Science, when stripped of its materialistic veil, confirms this sacred mechanism. Every possibility exists as a wave of probability until observed. When attention collapses the wave, reality assumes a definite state. Your observation charged with emotion is the creative act. You, as consciousness, determine which possibility becomes actual. Think of this. Each time you hold a thought with feeling, you are collapsing infinite potential into form. Every feeling state is a universe you are summoning into being, and what you persist in feeling becomes the world you walk in. This is why imagination, disciplined by love, is the highest art. To imagine lovingly for yourself and for others is to participate in the divine creative act consciously. It is to see every soul not as fallen, but as already redeemed. It is to speak life where there seems to be death, order where there seems to be chaos, abundance where there seems to be lack. Call those things which be not as though they were. Romans 4:17. This is the spiritual law of assumption, the eternal command of consciousness. You call the unseen as though it were seen, and by that calling you bring it forth. There is no distance between you and the thing desired, only difference in state. To move from one state to another requires no physical effort, no external change, but only a shift in inner feeling. You can move instantly from despair to confidence, from poverty to abundance, from fear to love, by assuming the consciousness of your chosen state. This is the mystery of repentance spoken of in Scripture. Repentance does not mean remorse. It means a radical change of mind. It means to turn from one state of consciousness to another. When you repent from lack to abundance, from fear to faith, from doubt to certainty, you are reborn in spirit. This is what Christ meant when he said, you must be born again. To be born again is to die to the old self, the self of limitation and doubt, and to rise in the new identity of divine possibility. The cross is not merely an event in history. It is a symbol of inner transformation. It is the crucifixion of the old concept of self and the resurrection of the new. Every day you are invited to this resurrection. Every assumption you hold is a cross or a crown. When you persist in love, faith, and imagination, you wear the crown. When you cling to fear, resentment, or lack, you remain bound to the cross of the old self. But the power to rise is always present, for Christ in you is the hope of glory. Now, feel this truth as living energy. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes, your history, your fears, or your failures. You are divine consciousness expressing through form. You are the Word made flesh, the living testimony of imagination and belief. Whatever you decree now becomes your destiny. Do not wait for permission. Do not look for signs. The sign shall follow, not precede your assumption. The moment you claim, I am, the universe moves to confirm your claim. You are commanding the infinite substance that obeys only consciousness. This is your birthright, your inheritance as a son or daughter of God. You are meant to live as a conscious creator, not as a beggar pleading with heaven, but as one united with it. When you speak, heaven listens. When you feel, creation responds. So speak not carelessly. Every idle word, every idle thought, every unguarded feeling is a seed. If you speak lack, you plant it. If you speak fear, you water it. But if you speak love, peace, and abundance, you call forth heaven upon the earth. There is a silence deeper than words, a silence where every desire already exists in perfection. To enter that silence is to commune with the source. There, imagination and faith become one. There, the I am reveals itself as all that ever was and all that ever shall be. In that stillness, you need not command outwardly, for the command is silent knowing. You rest in the assurance that creation is complete, that your wish is fulfilled, that your prayer has been answered from the foundation of the world. This is the peace that passes understanding. This is the rest of one who knows the law. And as you walk through the world with that inner certainty, life bends to your conviction. You become a living example of divine order in motion. People feel peace in your presence, for you have aligned yourself with the eternal I am. You do not react, you create. You do not struggle, you know. And knowing is power. Knowing is command. Knowing is the light that dissolves all shadow. So now I invite you to turn within. Close your eyes. Release the effort of striving. Let your breath deepen. Let your thoughts slow. And say silently within yourself, I am the presence of God imagining itself as me. I am one with the source of all creation. All that I seek, I already am. All that I desire, I already possess. It is done. It is finished. It is now. Feel that truth not as hope, but as fact. Let it settle into the stillness of your heart until it becomes being. And as you rise from this moment, carry that awareness into every step, every word, every act. For your life is the stage upon which God reveals himself through your consciousness. Your wish is your command, because your consciousness is divine law in motion. So imagine beautifully, feel powerfully, love deeply, and know that the kingdom of heaven is within you now, here, forever. The world you seek to change is not outside you. It is the reflection of your own awakening. When you see yourself as the light of the world, darkness vanishes of itself. When you bless others, you multiply blessing for yourself. When you forgive, you dissolve the illusion of separation and remember oneness. This is the great revelation. You are not trying to become divine. You are remembering that you already are. You are consciousness discovering itself, the Word becoming flesh, the dreamer awakening in the dream. And so, with calm certainty, speak the final command. I am all that I have ever sought. I am free. I am fulfilled. I am love. And the universe, hearing that decree, will echo it back through every circumstance, every face, every sunrise, until all that you behold proclaims, yes, you are. Ivan, now that you know the law, The question becomes, how do you live it, not once in a moment of inspiration, but each day, in every breath? The answer is simple. Though the mind will try to make it complex, it is to remember who you are when the world tempts you to forget, to return again and again to the still conviction that the I am within you is God expressing as your life. Begin each morning in silence. Before the mind races toward the duties of the day, close your eyes and feel yourself already living the life you desire. Let that scene be simple, a moment that proves the wish fulfilled. Perhaps it is a letter of gratitude, a gentle conversation, the sound of laughter in a home that is yours. See it? Yes, but more than that, feel it. Let the feeling of completion sink into your body until you can say with quiet certainty, it is done. After, carry that inner assurance with you like a fragrance. When doubts whisper, do not wrestle with them. Return to feeling. When appearances contradict you, do not fight them. Bless them and look again within. For what you sustain inwardly will outlast all temporary shadows. Each night, as you drift into sleep, let your last thought be your command. Feel the wish fulfilled once more, not as a demand, but as gratitude. Gratitude that the unseen has already moved. Your subconscious will take that final impression and continue the work while you rest. Sleep then becomes prayer. Rest becomes creation. And during the waking hours, walk gently. Respond to life as though everything that happens serves your unfolding. If you meet resistance, see it as the echo of an old state dissolving. Do not condemn it, bless it, and move on. The new reality is forming, even if the outer shell is not yet cracked. Practice speaking kindly to yourself. Every word you utter in the quiet of your mind is a seed sown in the field of being. Say, I am guided. Say, I am sustained. Say, I am loved and loving. Let these words become the inner rhythm of your day. In time, they will cease to feel like repetition. They will feel like truth. Remember, the law does not demand effort, only consistency. A gentle flame, kept alive, illumines the whole room. Likewise, a single steady assumption held lovingly, without strain, will transform your world. So live as one who knows. Walk as one who has already received. And when others ask how you remain so calm amid the noise, you will smile and say, because my world obeys my inner word. My wish is my command, and my command is love. And now, as the day folds back into quiet, return again to that sacred center. Close your eyes. Breathe slowly. Feel the weight of the world release from your shoulders. You are not here to struggle against life. You are here to let life reveal itself through you. In this stillness, whisper within yourself, I and the Father are one. All that the Father hath is mine. It is the Father's good pleasure to give me the kingdom. Let those words settle. Let them become more than sound. Let them become recognition. For when you truly know that the kingdom of heaven is within you, you cease asking, you cease doubting, you simply are. You are the awareness through which love expresses. You are the consciousness by which worlds are shaped. You are the light that cannot be hidden. So walk gently, speak truthfully, love without hesitation. Let every act become a blessing, every word a seed of peace. Carry this knowing into tomorrow and the next, that you are never apart from the source. For the source lives and moves as you. And when the world seems dark or uncertain, remember, the command is still the same. Your wish is your command, not by will, but by faith, by imagination, by union with the living Christ within. So go now, quietly radiant, inwardly certain. Live from the end. Rest in fulfillment. And let every breath whisper the eternal word, I am. All. And when all words have fallen silent, when even thought grows still, there remains only this awareness, this living presence that has always been and always will be. It is you. It is God. It is the endless I am. Let this knowing guide every step. Let it color every dream. For from this moment forward, you do not walk as one seeking the light. You walk as the light, shining, creating, blessing all that you behold. Remember this. Creation listens to the voice of your inner word. Every image you hold in love becomes flesh. Every feeling you sustain in faith becomes form. So speak gently within yourself, and the universe will answer gently in return. Your wish is your command. Your heart is the throne of the infinite, and all that you can imagine in love already is. When you open your eyes in the morning, before the world can press its story upon you, pause. Let your first thought not be of yesterday or tomorrow, but of presence. Whisper, I am here. I am aware. I am. This simple awareness resets the whole rhythm of your being. It calls your mind back from the noise and restores it to the quiet strength that never leaves you. Then move through the day as though every encounter were holy. See the divine image in every face you meet, even in those who challenge you. Speak softly within yourself. The same life that breathes in me breathes in them. This remembrance is how heaven begins to appear on earth through you. When you work with a full heart. Let every task become a form of prayer. Pour your awareness into what is before you, for God hides in the ordinary. When you listen as if the voice you hear might be the voice of the eternal disguised as a friend. When you give without thought of return, and you will discover that giving is receiving in motion. And when evening comes, return again to stillness. Look back over the day not to judge it, but to bless it. Every moment was an opportunity to remember who you are. If you forgot, forgive yourself quickly. Forgiveness is another name for freedom. Then rest in gratitude. Say quietly, it is well. All is unfolding according to divine order. Sleep within that feeling, and the night will shape your tomorrows in peace. In this way, you live the truth, not as doctrine, but as breath, moment by moment, remembering the creative presence within you. And each remembrance strengthens the command. Each act of love multiplies its reflection. Each quiet yes to the divine within expands the borders of heaven a little more. So let this be your rhythm, to awaken and remember, to act and bless, to rest and be renewed. The law will not fail you, for it is written in your own heart. What you assume, you become. What you feel, you express. What you love, you create. There will be moments when the wind rises against you, when the outer world seems to resist every silent decree you have spoken within, when appearances mock your inner vision and the senses cry out, it is not working. Do not fear these moments. They are not signs of failure. They are proof that the old state is dying. Every new birth begins with labor. Every resurrection demands the tomb. The darkness you face is the shadow cast by the light you have summoned. When challenge comes, do not fight it. Stand still and remember the law. Return to the center of your being and say quietly, this too is the unfolding of my good. Let faith become your atmosphere, unseen but unshakable. For faith is not optimism, it is knowing. It is the quiet conviction that the unseen reality is truer than what the eyes behold. The storm is only noise to the one who forgets who commands the sea. Remember the story. The master slept while the waves raged around him. His disciples feared the ship would sink, but he rose and said, peace, be still. And there was calm. He did not plead with the storm, he spoke from authority. You have that same authority within you. The Christ within you can still every storm. So when life appears uncertain, speak to it in that same spirit. Do not beg the problem to leave. Command the peace to appear. Say, I am the calm presence of God in this situation. End of say it until you feel it. For feeling is the bridge between thought and manifestation. When you feel peace, the world must echo peace back to you. Every obstacle is an invitation to remember your power. Each difficulty calls you to practice the truth you know. If you meet lack, respond with the feeling of abundance. If you meet fear, answer with love. If you meet delay, declare, in divine order, all things unfold in perfect time. End quote. Do not let your emotions be ruled by appearance. Let appearance be ruled by your emotion. You are the cause, not the effect. And when you stand firm in that realization, even the hardest stone begins to move. You may not see results immediately, but the unseen is already shifting. The seed buried in darkness does not fail to grow because the soil is heavy. It grows because the light within it is stronger than the weight above it. So it is with you. The light within you is stronger than every obstacle. The Christ within you cannot be confined. Hold fast to the feeling of victory, even in the midst of trial. The outer world must eventually bow to that inner command. For the law cannot contradict itself. What you assume as true with persistence becomes your experience. Let this be your courage, that no challenge is final and no delay is denial. Everything that comes to you carries the purpose of awakening greater faith. And faith, once awakened, conquers all appearances. So when the world shakes, do not tremble with it. Stand still, breathe deeply, and remember, your wish is your command even here, even now, especially now. For the power that created the stars abides within you, and that power never fails. When the storm has passed and the noise of the world has grown quiet again, you will see that nothing was lost. Every challenge was an invitation, every delay a teacher. The waves that once frightened you have carried you to a higher shore. Stand there for a moment in silence. Look back with gratitude. The path that seemed uncertain was guided all along. The strength you were searching for was the presence within you waiting to be remembered. You are no longer the one who struggles against life. You are the one through whom life flows. The command has been spoken, the law fulfilled, the wish realized. Now breathe. Let peace return to its rightful throne in your heart. Let love move quietly through every thought. Let your life become the living proof that imagination, joined with faith, is the very voice of God creating through you. And when you speak the sacred words, I am, know what they mean. They mean I am light in the darkness. I am abundance in seeming lack. I am love in a world learning to remember love. Everything that I desire already lives within me, for I and the Father are one. Your wish has been heard. Your wish has been done. And from this still point of awareness, creation continues to unfold forever new, forever perfect, forever now. Be still and know that I am God.